Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing yet another fall bake with me. Today I am pulling a recipe out of the archives. This has been a favorite for years. Pre-WW. I have not made it since and I decided that I wanted to make it, so I'm going to, of course, lighten it up a little bit. Instead of real butter, we're going to use light butter. Instead of butter in the cake, we're going to use applesauce. Instead of sugar and brown sugar, we're going to use monk fruit. So, not sure how it's going to turn out, but if you're seeing this video, it must have turned out pretty good. So, let's get started making upside down apple gingerbread cake. Yup, it's as good as it sounds. Let's get started. The ingredients we need: baking soda, cinnamon, ginger, ground cloves, and nutmeg. You could probably just substitute gingerbread spice for all these, but I'm going to stick with what I know. Need a little bit of salt, flour, 1 egg, some 0-calorie brown sugar. Look how dirty that is. This is the Swerve brown sugar, half a cup of applesauce, some 0-calorie granulated sugar. This is the Lakanto monk fruit, 2/3 cup of brewed tea. It's still brewing. 2 tablespoons of molasses, and that's for the cake part. And then the topping part, we're also going to need some of the brown sugar, 2 large apples, peeled and sliced, and some light butter. So there's our ingredients. It looks like a lot, but it's a lot of spices. Let's get started making this cake. I'm going to kind of do it in reverse order. I'll explain that in a second. Okay, so when I said we were going to work backwards, normally you would prepare the upside down part first, the apples and the butter and the brown sugar, but I don't want the apples to get brown. So I'm going to prepare the batter first and let that sit while I prepare the apples. So the first thing we're going to do, now normally this would be a half a cup of butter, but trying to save points, we're using applesauce. I'm going to use 4 ounces of applesauce, and then I'm going to put in a half a cup of the granulated monk fruit, a 1/4 cup of the Swerve brown sugar replacement, and then I'm going to just beat that until it says light and fluffy, but it's not going to happen with applesauce, but you know, we'll fake it. This recipe is actually a very, very, very old recipe from Taste of Home magazine that I'm kind of redoing. The next thing we're going to add is 1 egg, and 2 tablespoons of molasses. I weighed it out instead of measuring it out just because to me it seemed easier than trying to get it out of the measuring spoon. This is easier. But it is 2 tablespoons. And then we're just going to mix that. Now we are going to set this aside and combine the dry ingredients. Okay, for the dry ingredients, I have my notes here. We have 1½ cups of flour. And then in this bowl, I have a teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of ground cloves, half a teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And we are just going to whisk that until it is well combined. And then we're going to start adding it to our sugar mixture. And what we're going to do is we're going to add some of the flour mixture and then some of our brewed tea, some of the flour mixture, some of the tea. So we're going to add them alternately. We don't want to overmix it. We just want to mix it until it's combined. And then I'm going to take my spatula and just give it one final scrape down the sides. Make sure it's all incorporated. And then we're going to just set this aside while we prepare our apples. So now it's time to get the topping ready. And if you're new to my channel, yes, I have gloves on because I am allergic to raw apples. So with peeling and slicing and touching the apples, I need to wear gloves. I can eat them cooked, I just can't eat them raw. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my 1/4 cup of melted light butter, put it right in the bottom, and then a 1/4 cup of the 0-calorie brown sugar. And I'm just gonna break that up in there. And I'm just gonna kind of swoosh it around a little bit. Just make sure everybody's dunked in the butter there. Mix it up a little bit. And then we're gonna put the apples in. These were really big apples. I might have too many here. Never too many, right? And then we're gonna take our batter. And by the way, you just heard the oven, 350 you need to preheat to. Then we are just gonna pour our cake batter right over the top. And there we go. We're gonna pop this in the oven for 45 to 50 minutes. I will probably start checking it at 40 minutes. And that's all there is to it. We'll be back and see what it looks like when it comes out. Hey, here it is right out of the oven, and it baked exactly 45 minutes. So now we're gonna let it cool for 10 minutes in the pan, and then we're gonna invert it onto a serving dish. Now I do notice that some of the apples actually came up. They're all supposed to stay on the bottom because it's an upside down cake, but it doesn't look like that happened. I'm sure it will be fine. It will be delicious whether they're on the top of the cake or filtered through it, I'm sure. I just hope it tastes good. It smells phenomenal, and oh, my house smells wonderful. So we shall see what it tastes like. Okay, here it is out of the pan. It looks and smells delicious, and I'm not gonna lie, there was a little piece that stuck to the bottom of the baking dish, so I tasted it. Oh my, if the rest of the cake tastes like the little piece that was stuck, I am in absolute heaven. Heaven. Now, let's discuss the points. So for the points on this cake, on all 3 plans, if you cut it into 9 pieces, 1 point, 1 piece is 4 points on all plans. The thing that gives it the points is the flour and the butter in the topping. That's where all the points are coming from, except on the green, you have to add the 2 points for the egg, but everything else in the cake is 0 points. So it's just the flour and the butter for the topping that are the points. You could probably reduce the, oh, and the molasses. I'm sorry, I forgot about the molasses. That adds 7 points. Could you do without the molasses? Probably could. But traditionally, gingerbread has molasses in it. And I just feel that just that 2 tablespoons really will give it that rich molasses or rich gingerbread flavor. The original recipe called for, I believe, a whole cup of molasses. So yeah, so that's the points, and we'll definitely be back to let you know how it tastes. We are not eating it until game night tonight. So for me, it's 3 hours. For you guys, it's a hot minute. There it is plated up, 1/9 of the cake, 4 points on all plans. And I think we got a thumbs up. Thumbs up?
Well, look.
Yes, definite thumbs up. So it's a winner. There you have it, everybody. Love the cake. It was absolutely delicious. And yeah, tasted pretty much just like it did when it was 14 points a slice instead of 4 points a slice. So I hope you liked this video. If so, give it a big thumbs up. Leave me a comment below. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that. And definitely, if you make nothing else from my fall bake with me's, make this cake because it is fabulous. And if you're not an apple person, you can 100% substitute pears and it is still absolutely delicious. So thanks for watching and I will see you soon.